Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Lower Providence Township Board of Supervisors for Thursday, November 3rd, 2016. Would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Good evening. Deb, would you please call the roll?
My pleasure. Mr. Sergini.
Here.
Ms. Ekman. Here. Mr. Duffy.
Here.
Mr. McFarland. Here. Ms. Zimmerman. Here.
Prior to the meeting this evening, an executive session was held to discuss legal, personnel, and real estate matters. The first item on the agenda this evening is the consent agenda, consisting of the minutes of our last meetings, as well as fiscal matters, including treasurer and cash flow report and 2 escrow releases. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make that motion.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board on the consent agenda? Any from the audience? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item are some of our annual presentations to our organizations that operate here in the township, and the first will be to the Lower Providence Senior Center and the Lower Providence Community Ambulance Center, and that will be delivered by our Vice Chairperson, Colleen Ekman. I'd like to call forward Brian Kuklinski and Eileen Kunz, please.
Here we are again, another year. This is the best part of the job. I'm sure most of us are aware, we do have some residents here, that Lower Providence, we enjoy really some top-notch emergency services between our police and our fire company and, of course, our ambulance. But we also have an ambulance company that provides senior center services under the community center. So we're doubly lucky that you do two wonderful things in the community. So with that, on behalf of Lower Providence Township Supervisors and, of course, the residents, I'd like to present you with your annual checks for the community center and for the ambulance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything that you do. We're very lucky to have you. Thank you. Of course, you have to say something.
I know she's going to give it to me. First of all, on behalf of our board of directors, we'd like to thank the supervisors for the annual donation. It's a great asset for our organization. It allows us to continue our mission to serve the community, provide the best emergency services possible. Also, the seniors group, they meet every Wednesday. They're a lively little group that comes and hangs out in the building, but it's always an interesting group, but they're very appreciative of the contribution this year. And just like to thank you again. Unfortunately, the change of insurances world out there has been a little crazy, so the world of reimbursement is up and down, and so this donation will definitely help us contribute a little bit more to our general operating fund and allow us to continue to provide the services that we provide 365 days a year. So once again, on behalf of our organization, thank you guys very much for the annual donation.
Okay, next on the agenda, we'll have the Visiting Nurse Association, and we have Angela Nunez from the Visiting Nurses, and Patrick is going to present.
Thank you for coming. So it's my pleasure and my honor this evening to present this annual donation on behalf of the Lower Providence Township Board of Supervisors to the Visiting Nurses Association. We're very fortunate that the visiting nurses come and take care of our residents that are otherwise unable to get out of their homes, and they get the doctor's appointments or to have chronic conditions. I think a lot of people don't realize that the visiting nurses are more than just medical professionals. They're a lot of people's lifelines to the outside world. They're friends, they're companions, and they provide a lot of hope to those that they care for. So it is my distinct honor and privilege to present this to you. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
Good evening. On behalf of everyone at VNA Community Services, I would like to express our appreciation for the check We're well known for the services that you mentioned, our in-home services, and we do have over 300 residences in the county that are, or in the township that are receiving in those in-home services at that time. The particular program that I do is called the Personal Navigator, and we help connect people with benefits. So any of those things that help people be in a little bit better spot, food stamps, health insurance, help with heating, and so that's another part of our program. So on behalf of that other part of what the VNA does, I would like to say thank you. Good evening.
Next, we have Matt Sibley from the Lower Providence Volunteer Fire Company. Evening, Matt. On behalf of the Board of Supervisors and all of the residents of Lower Providence Township, I am honored to present this check to the Volunteer Fire Company to support the good work that you do for all of the residents of our township. The selflessness, valor, and heroism that the members of your department demonstrate on a regular basis is truly a credit to all of the members in your department, and we wish you the best of health and God's good fortune in serving the residents of Lower Providence, and we thank you.
On behalf of the fire department, I'd like to thank the supervisors for their continuous support, as well as the township residents. I apologize for being late, but I take a fire alarm at the intermediate school. Unfortunately, we can't control those things. So, just an update on the fire department. So for the last 3 or 4 years now, we've been working on a long-term apparatus replacement plan, being that apparatus is one of our most expensive items that we have to carry. And after much deliberation and going over the township's needs from our end, as well as our staffing, we've put a plan forward. The department accepted it, and we've implemented it. We recently ordered a new engine, and we expect delivery in early to late spring of 2017. And my understanding is we appointed a new rescue committee as well, and they are underway and have been able to work with our supplier to piggyback on top of the other order and save several thousand to tens of thousands of dollars because of that. So my understanding is in the very near future, hopefully before the end of this year, our rescue truck will be ordered as well. So your support goes a long way, as you know, quickly we just spent $1 million. So we do appreciate the help, and we are looking forward to replacing some of the 1980s apparatus that we have with new latest and greatest technology to assist in what we do to the township residents. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And finally, we have check presentation to the Victim Services Center of Montgomery County, and we have Jessica Rice here with us this evening, and Supervisor McFarland will be presenting that check.
Hello, Jessica. Jessica, on behalf of the Lower Providence Board of Supervisors and the residents of Lower Providence, we're very pleased to offer you this support. Your activities and your agency is one that many people hope they never have to deal with, but those who are victims of trauma and crime and abuse, it is wonderful to know that there are people here, professionals, that can help them get through what would be a very difficult time. So it's our pleasure to support you in this way, and we hope that you can continue to do the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. On behalf of Victim Services Center, we thank the supervisors and the township for supporting us and with this donation. And my name is Jessica Rice. I'm the Community Education Supervisor. I provide education programs throughout the county. Victim Services Center, we are a sexual assault center for the county that also serves victims of other violent crimes. We provide advocacy, counseling, and education, helping victims navigate the criminal justice system with advocacy and then our counseling. I would like to share maybe one horrific statistic in our United States. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are victims of sexual abuse or experience some kind of sexual abuse in their lifetime before they're 18. And thankfully, Lower Providence Methacton School District is tackling that silent epidemic by providing education programs. So in all 5 of your elementary schools, I do speak to the 2nd and 3rd graders about safe touches and trying to prevent child sexual abuse. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all of the representatives of the organizations that were able to be with us this evening. Moving on the agenda, the next item is 2A, a budget presentation and potentially the authorization to advertise the proposed 2017 budget. And our manager, Allison Rudolph, has some information on that for us.
Thank you. The staff has been working on the budget since the summer, and earlier in October we had a workshop meeting with the department heads and members of the Board of Supervisors to review the various requests. We now have for you a proposed budget for your consideration for advertising this evening. I'll just briefly go through a few items. First, it reflects sort of a wrap-up of 2016. We anticipate ending the year with a projected surplus. Going into 2017, to give you an overall idea of where your tax dollars are going. They primarily go to the public safety, which would be police, fire, and ambulance. After that, we spend the largest portion of the tax dollar on employee benefits. Then it would be in our public works department, administration, and then building maintenance and community development. Our proposed budget for 2017 reflects revenues of $9.9 million and expenditures of $10.2 million. We do have sufficient cash reserves to cover this difference, so we are not projecting any tax increase in 2017. This just gives you a general idea of what the average assessed property would pay in taxes. This would be the same in 17 as in 16. It would be $295.82 on a home, the average assessment of which is $167,000. Our capital projects for next year reflect a list of really the most needed items. You see the revenue for the 16 budget is substantially more than 17, but that reflects a borrowing that we did. We borrowed funding to do some large projects this year, which we are not proposing for next year. The capital request includes technology upgrades, which we have reduced since our workshop meeting, a redesign of our website, the second payment for the upgrade of our radio equipment, 3 police vehicles, a new backhoe, and a refund of the water line project that was completed a number of years ago. The Park and Recreation Operating Fund is a separate tax fund. Again, no increase in this millage. It does include recreation fees and contributions in addition to the tax revenue, and it is also supported by the general fund. The operating expenses match the revenue, so this fund will balance. Library fund, that's an in and out fund. Whatever we collect in the tax revenue goes directly to the library. Our debt service fund is also covered by a tax millage, and it covers a transfer to the library for their borrowing, as well as the borrowing for the original purchase of the golf course, in addition to some other shorter term debt. This just gives you a summary of the current outstanding debt that the township has. Liquid fuels, this is paying back the money that was borrowed for road projects through loans that is funded through our liquid fuels money that we get from the state. And the highway aid is where this money comes in. We are going to, by reducing the debt payments, we are able to utilize more of the state funding to support our road maintenance programs. The unrestricted capital fund is where we project to purchase the backhoe as well as make our radio payment. And the tree fund is replenished through developer contributions, and we're projecting some minor expenses next year. Self-insurance provides for the medical benefits for retirees and is self-sustaining at this point on the investments from the fund, in the fund. And the equipment replacement fund is a smaller fund that we're actually transferring the balance out to the capital projects. The schedule for the budget would be, if you are comfortable with authorizing the advertisement of the budget tonight, we would then be able to consider it for adoption on December 1st. It does require a 20-day period when the budget is open for a public view. If you had any questions or wanted additional information, we could defer the advertisement to the next meeting on the 17th, and then that would provide for a consideration of adoption at the December 15th meeting. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Okay, do I have a motion to advertise the 2017 budget as, advertise it as outlined by Allison Rudolph?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board? I would just say that I think that advertising another annual budget without a tax increase is a credit to our staff and all of the good work that our department heads and our interim manager have done to make sure that our expenditures generally equal our income. And also it's a testament to the commitment of this board to continue to provide high-quality services in Lower Providence, but continue to be fiscally prudent. We will continue to have a tax millage rate that is one of the lowest in Montgomery County of any municipality that provides a police force, and that's a figure that we've shown up here before. It wasn't in this particular presentation, but I believe that's really a credit to everybody involved in this process, so thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will have the budget up for adoption at the December 1st meeting. Item 2B, authorization to advertise for 2017 Township Boards and Commission vacancies and 2017 professional consultants. Allison again.
You have before you a listing of those terms that will expire at the end of 2016 that you will consider for either reappointment or a new appointment. So we would request your authorization this evening to advertise for any interested residents to apply for consideration to be appointed to one of these boards. There are terms expiring on the Library Board, Finance Committee, Park and Recreation Board, Planning Commission, Sewer Authority, Vacancy Board, and Zoning Hearing Board, and UCC Board. We also, you have also historically advertised for professional consultants that may wish to submit proposals. So authorization for those two would be requested this evening for advertisement.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to advertise for 2017 Township Board and Commission vacancies and 2017 professional consultants?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just a brief question, if I may. What is the timeline cycle for this advertisement? How long before these decisions can be made and before these interested parties that have, placed their names forward? When would that, how long before we can make a decision on reappointments or appointments?
Well, your reappointments would take place at your reorganization meeting, which would be the first Monday in January. And so we would do the advertisement shortly, and you would have from now until then to make a determination as to the appointments.
Okay, so the formal decision would be done at the reorganization meeting.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, announcements. The Sewer Authority will have its monthly meeting on November 9th at 7:30 p.m. at the Sewer Authority Building. Parks and Rec Board will meet here on November 15th at 7 p.m. Planning Commission meeting will take place here the following evening, the 16th at 7 p.m. Hard to believe, but coming up very shortly is our 8th annual community Christmas tree lighting on Friday, December 2nd at 6:30 p.m. out here at the Township Complex. We're looking forward to seeing the tree again this year. And the Caring and Sharing Holiday Food and Gift Drive is underway. Items can be dropped off at the Township Building weekdays from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Details on both the tree lighting and the Caring and Sharing program are available at our website, www.lptrec.com. Comments and other business. Any comments or other business from the board?
I would just like to thank the library volunteers and their staff for putting on a terrific fundraiser on Friday evening, the comedy show with acting graduate Trip Chantry at Chadwick's. It was a great time. There was about 150 people there, and I think they're going to look to do something similar in the future. So please go out and check the library website for their upcoming fundraisers.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments? Madam Manager? Mr. Solicitor?
Nothing.
Staff? Okay, courtesy of the floor, would anyone like to speak this evening? Seeing no one, I'll go on to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting will be Thursday, November 17th, 2016. Thank you for coming and have a good night.